Welcome, everybody, to Conversations with 1 Million Meditators. Today is a really exciting day. I am joined by our Melbourne ambassador, Ursula Faye. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's such an honor to have you. Yeah, such an honor to have you here. Ursula, as I was saying, she is a Melbourne-based quantum energy healer who works with the nervous system via an expanded model of the body system called EBANSHI, combining lived experience and professional training in remedial bodywork, energy healing, and human behavior. Ursula developed a unique way of working directly with the nervous system via the fascia to release cellular memory. After many years of working with multiple energy bodies at once and venturing into the quantum field to access even more pathways of influence, Ursula developed her abilities to work beyond time and space. She now assists light workers from all over the world to release, integrate, and heal multiple lifetimes of trauma. She also runs her weekly Earth Reverence Healing Circle right here on 1 Million Meditators, a part of her service work to the planet. Thank you, girl. This is just going to be such a fun conversation to have today. And of course, first of all, I want to ask you, what inspired you to join the movement of 1 Million Meditators? And then we'll dive into all this like really juicy stuff.
Sure. A friend of mine actually tagged me in a post letting me know that one of the weekend meditation events was on, and it was just a no-brainer. I'm like, oh, of course. Yes, this is up my alley. Everyone getting together and the idea of 1 million people all in synchronous, focus to try and raise the vibration of the planet. I was just in.
You're a yes. You're just like a yes. I love it. I know. That's kind of what my vibe was too. I'm like, this is great. I love it. I love what they're doing. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, so I really wanted to ask you how you got into this fascinating work. As I was mentioning to you, I was listening to a podcast, of course, conveniently, and it was really talking about the memories that we store in our muscles, and that's something that I've worked on with like energy movement and stuff. But I'm really excited to learn more from you.
Yeah. Well, I think like a lot of healers, we get into it because we have our own work to do, trying to heal my own journey. I've, experienced a variety of different kinds of what could be called trauma, different sorts. And I had terrible health issues in my 20s and went on a journey beyond what the medical field could offer me. And as I healed and learned things, I was like, I want to do this with my life. I want to help other people. So, I went out and started as a remedial massage therapist because I didn't really know where else to start, and because people who had helped me, I modeled myself on them and discovered, people were showing up as clients for me that had all these traumatic experiences as well. And often they were ones that, not surprisingly lined up with my own experiences. So I had something to bring from my own experiences in. And I just kept getting, right, I better get more training so I can be responsible and actually help with these things. And I continue with my own healing. And as I discovered more and more things that work, some things work for a while and then they don't work anymore, or your understanding expands. So you've got to discard old models. It's been a continual journey for me through decades. And so, you learn things from other healers. You go and figure something out and discover, oh, this was a pathway I'd never thought of before. And I can do this. How can I apply this to my work? And so I've been doing this for years, collecting things that worked. How do I make this work for me? How can I help other people with it? That's explaining well what I mean.
No, I absolutely love it. And it's true. I think I was the same way. I started off in that way of my own journey, and then of course it leads into wanting to expand and to help others. But I would love to learn a little bit more about this. I'm going to probably say it wrong. EBANSHI, is that EBANSHI? Yeah. Tell us, what is it? What does it mean? What is it?
It's an odd sounding word. It stands for expanded body and nervous system healing and integration, because, through years of starting out working with the body and discovering that, we held so much cellular memory, not only from our own life experiences, but from our family line. And then when you add in other lifetimes of experience and then collective experiences and cultural experiences, Oh, we're having a message saying there is no sound. I'm not sure if that's something we can sort out. I thought I was all plugged in with my mic. Anyway, I shall continue on, hoping that it sorts itself out. Yeah, so we store this cellular memory, and then discovering the importance of the nervous system in all of that. This is where we store an awful lot of our trauma and any emotions we haven't processed well, or, you know, anything that hasn't completed. And yeah, I learned more and more of these threads that came in, and I was fascinated and wanting to know more and more and diving in more deeply. And I got to the level where I knew we had this physical body and all these energy bodies on top, and I learned to be able to work with multiple ones at once, realizing where's the core of these issues, you know, where does it originate from? And of course, they're not separate systems. They all are constantly influencing each other. And then you add in more information and it moved further and further out. And I was like, wow, there's so much. How do I? But you can, if you're audacious enough to think, I want to come up with a solution, you find one. And I'm pretty audacious. I found to with, particularly, I've done an awful lot of work in my life with traumatic experiences for people. And I think as light workers, we often carry lifetimes and lifetimes of trauma and things where we've been persecuted, which affects us even now, no matter how much work we do. And I remember sitting, because my child was a Steiner girl. We're in Steiner education, and they have all these natural fibers and things to it. But then there was this big box of wool, you know, like maybe 8 different balls of wool had been thrown in there and all tangled up. And if you've ever sat down and try and untangle that, you can't force your way through. You can't decide, well, I'm going to untangle the blue thread. It has its own idea. And the more you work at something where there's a lot of tension, you could often make it worse. So sometimes you've got to let that part go and go somewhere else and untangle over here. And just, you've got to tune in and let the wool guide you. And that's how I've always found myself working with human bodies, and particularly with the fascia, which is all the connective tissue. And then you find, you come back, you can't even find that big knot anymore, because releasing the tension from all these outer areas has its effect at your origin point. And of course, before you know it, oh, this is all unwound and untangled. And it was a lovely, gentle experience. So I've tried to translate that idea into working with the body. And now I work hands off with the body. It's actually easier if people are not in the room. There's just have access to so much more. As I said, there's so many points of influence, so many moving parts that affect us. So when you add in multiple lives that we've led.
Yeah, absolutely. For those that are watching that are maybe a little bit curious more about what we're talking about on a more baseline level or starting off level about like muscle memory, I think one of, as I was mentioning to you at this podcast I was listening to, one of the examples they were giving was, you know, do you remember what your grandmother looked like, say 10 years ago, but yet you carry maybe her eyes or her, you know, her smile or something like that. And, you know, how when babies begin to crawl, like there's that muscle memory there, or that memory there that's carried forward, that they just, you know, and we start to instinctively know to do these things. And if we were to eat food of like another species, we're not going to change into that species because our bodies remember who we are, right? So, you know, for those that are a little bit curious what we're speaking of, it's those memories that get carried on. And maybe you can speak to it a little bit more clearly than maybe I do, because it's not my area of expertise, even though it's an area I work with. But I would love for you to share a little bit more on that. And yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I remember quite early on hearing about those things too, and they fascinated me. You know, like you can, even if a child has been born blind and never seen their parents, it's amazing how often they can take on those familial characteristics. You know, they'll make the same facial expressions their father makes. They'll walk the same way as their sister. We hear of twins separated at birth and how trajectories of their life are so similar. You know, they just line up. And then even further than that, when I was studying psychotherapy many years ago, people with like, you know, dissociative identity disorder, which we multiple personalities, one of the personalities may have had an illness like diabetes, or in one of the particular personalities, the eye color would change. And this has all been documented by medical people. And I was like, wow. So nothing's set in stone. There's always an answer, something we can shift and change, and something we can always heal. I've never accepted a no ever. It's like, you can't get any better. Of course I can. There's just, I haven't found the pathway yet, and I will find it. But the possibility of what's out there for us, has always excited me. It's like, oh, we don't know this yet, but I'm sure the answer's there. And so I've always kept looking for answers in places where other people didn't. And I see myself as, I work in the cracks. There's plenty of wonderful people out there doing, work in as far as the area we know. And I'm always like, well, what's in this corner here? What's over in this shadow? What if I follow this thread all the way over there? Where does it go?
I love it. I love it. It's the curious mind, right? The curious mind that keeps us going. We need it, though. I'm just saying, we need a curious mind.
How else do we get to amazing places?
Right? I know. It's just it's that breadcrumb of like that trail of breadcrumbs that leads us. It's like, oh, what's over here? What's over there? What can we find out? But it's really an amazing a practice when you can really get into it and move and shift that energy in a way that becomes transformational and removes those past traumas and things that are stored and held within the body. And as you say, there's tons of science on it now these days. There's lots of even more documentaries coming out showing, how this can work and how this can benefit our overall health and well-being. So I think it's so amazing that you are doing this work in the world.
There is so much more awareness of it now. More and more people are looking for answers outside of the norm and the mainstream, and realizing that, as I said, we have so many more points of influence potentially affecting us, and we need to sometimes look a little further afield to find them and influence them in return. Particularly, we all, I think, if we're here on this platform, we're quite aware of the paradigm of the Earth changing very, very rapidly. We're moving into a higher state of vibration, and we're still in these human bodies, and they're playing catch up really rapidly, and absolutely everything is shifting on so many levels, and we've got so much support and help, but it can be really difficult to catch up. We've lived a human lifetime, probably thousands of them, and we're still carrying all that old information, and we need to, like a ship getting rid of ballasts, we've got to find these things and get rid of them and clear them, and all of our past life stuff and all of our family stuff and our personal stuff's coming up, and it's right in our faces these days. And I think we all need assistance through that to just help support our physical body for a start, and the other bodies to just be able to find, safe passage through it, to be able to hold ourselves and feel safe within all of this unknown. And that's why the nervous system just over the years became the key to me. Not only is this where we store things, but it's responsible for everything. You can't argue with a nervous system that's gone into shock, that's saying, I'm not safe, and no, I'm not going any further. You can't rationalize your way out of it. I know I've done years and years of study, and if you're in the middle of a panic attack, you can sit there going, oh, I know exactly what's happening to me here. Yep, and it's all because of this, and there's no reason for me to feeling it. It doesn't help you at all, though. So we need to understand when it's a physiological response we have, we need to work at that level too. I hope that's making sense, and I'm not using too many words that don't resonate for people. I get very excited about this. I apologize in advance.
No, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
So that's what I try and do. Find those threads and follow them through and untangle them and allow them, and educate the system really, so that it gets started and then it knows what to do to continue its own work, and it's not dependent on anyone else. But there are obviously touch points when we need people to come back in and assist us. And just expanding the capacity of our nervous systems and our physical systems and our cells. So sort of dumping all the junk files, allowing it all to work more harmoniously as a system, and being able to hold more and more of the higher light and an expanded sense of awareness, more love for ourselves, for others, our place in an entire ecosystem. All of that stuff. Simple, right?
Oh yeah, just like that, right? It's no big deal. It's just like flick of a finger. Well, and that's, that's really the interesting part about some of this work. And when we speak of, say, past traumas and things, is it's really like unraveling those layers. And sometimes, there is that block where one doesn't remember a specific event or trauma because it has been buried within the body. And as you start to, or it's still holding space in the body, I should say. And then as you start to unravel those layers, things just start to come up, and you're able to then, I think, get a little go deeper. But it's definitely a process, and it's definitely involves moving that energy and reshaping it into something different. Yeah.
And it's interesting you say that, because movement is another part that's important, so you need to get out and move your body and shift these things through you. It makes an incredible difference, and ground yourself, get in touch with the natural world in some way. We have all these, as I said, so many moving parts that are important in order to heal and move forward and be the people we know we want to be and have the potential to be. And, just slowly finding our way through that to become this beautiful little ball of light that we are, shine a brighter light on the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to take a moment and say hello to Michelle, to Crystal, to Kent. Thank you for joining us. Just please, if you're watching, post in the comments, let us know where you're joining from. We always love to hear from you. Ursula, something that we do here at 1 Million Meditators is send out a love share for the week. And this week, I would love to send my love share out to those of you that have been watching us each week and posting your comments. I really appreciate you and your energy and the energy that you bring to 1 Million Meditators. And I would love to remind you that we do have our global event coming up here next weekend. So if you want some more details to find out about that, stay tuned on the page. Ursula, you go ahead and do a love share. Anywhere you want, anywhere.
Yes,
anyone.
I have a lot of people in my life at the moment who could use some extra love. Lots of people all over the place, going through some tough times right now and difficult situations, and just sending you all lots of love and all the support you need. We'll all be better soon.
Yeah. I think everybody, it's like that's the positive about everything shifting right now. If we just keep focused on what we can transform the energy to, it makes the journey more enjoyable and a little bit lighter, at least, right? It's all part of the experience.
It's often the joke about Melbourne weather is it's so changeable, but it doesn't bother me so much. It's like if it's too hot or it's too cold, I know it's not going to last for very long. It's fine. I don't like this right now. Just give it a day or two. It will be different.
Absolutely. And so for those of you watching, Ursula does have, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, she has her weekly show called the Earth Reverence Healing Circle. Did I say that correctly? I apologize if I didn't.
Correct.
And that runs every, it's Thursday your time, but it's Fridays. Other way right. Friday your time, Thursday my time. This is the fun part when we get to connect around the globe, because it's Thursday where I am now and it's Friday where you are. No, it's Friday where I am and it's Saturday where you are now.
Today, yes, that's true.
I apologize. I'm just confusing everyone now.
It's so weird. I never thought I would be leading a meditation or doing earthwork, but apparently I've been doing this for thousands of lifetimes, back to something I was doing when I was living in Atlantis. And I have this huge team with elemental masters and like these ancient earth guardians all working with me, and we're doing all this stuff while I'm sleeping. And the idea of, I was told, lead this thing, and I had no idea what I was doing, but it's been going for more than a year now, and I think I'm doing okay with it. It's just, let's just, again, like the whole 1 Million Meditators movement, get together with a common focus and let's just send through. Like, I have a number of light frequencies and codes that I'm supposed to assist the earth with. So while there's a few other people holding space, we just magnify, get lovely old Lady Gaia where she's supposed to be, help her through this time, activate all those pathways of power through the earth, you know, anchor more light into the grid, help her nervous system also. She's going through this with all of us, be able to handle all of these rapid changes and come through it as well as possible. Because if she's doing well, we're doing well. We can't really do well if she's not. So sort of that, again, this collaborative, the systems affect each other all the time.
Yeah, and just like that energy exchange and, you know, that getting into that harmony. It's a good space. It's a good word. And I know you've got some juicy stuff coming up here in the next few weeks. If people want to learn how to work more with you, where can they find you? I'll let you share a little bit about that. I know it's kind of secretive still. It's a little bit top secret, but you know. Get about a few little details.
Probably my website is the best way to get started with me. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, but just my name, ursulafaye.com.au, because I'm in Australia, and that has most information about what I'm doing. You can book sessions with me one-on-one over Zoom, and they're recorded so you can listen to them again and again to assist with the integration of the work, because it's not just receiving something once, we need to integrate it as well. But yeah, I'm about 2 weeks away from launching a new thing, which is been working for quite some time on a pre-recorded session, which you would just buy the once and then listen to over and over again as things keep shifting. And it's just a recalibration process to just, as I said, assist us to handle all of these rapid changes a lot more easily. So just supporting your nervous system, supporting all your physical cells, supporting your energy bodies as well, to just not be quite so swamped by all the things that keep coming through, because they just don't stop coming. You know, our old stuff is coming up. We're getting ascension symptoms, you know, the headaches and the blurry vision, and sometimes we can feel like we've got the flu, or we get aches and pains that come and go. I think most healers are familiar with these things just coming in and out of our lives, and it just feels like they're relentless at the moment. So I thought, why don't I make a little process that can just assist all of that and make it a little easier so we're not constantly
I know we all need to find a tree and hug it so that we ground down, right?
Absolutely.
Not float off. And
one of my favorite things to do. I have a particular favorite tree down by the Yarra River I like to visit. It's quite compassionate.
You've got that wonderful relationship. Yeah, I know. I've got a few over here I go walking through. We have conversations every now and then.
Yeah. These are the best.
So I'm just curious if maybe there's like a tool or tip or strategy you could give somebody for, you know, kind of as we're speaking. I mean, using nature is always a wonderful way to ground your energetic body. Is there something that you recommend to your clients, like when they are going through like an ascension process and shifting process of releasing past, you know, traumas and things that they've come with to keep their body in a more grounded state?
Absolutely, yes. Drinking plenty of pure water is probably a key thing that we need to do. Our body is just a bunch of chemical reactions going on constantly. So giving hydrogen and oxygen molecules in plentiful abundance, it just helps with most of the processes in our system so that it can function. And fascia likes to be kept wet. So lots of water. Yeah, anything that helps you ground. So movement helps energy release, being in nature, you know, actually sitting on the earth, hugging a tree, you know, having time to meditate. And other than that, Epsom salts baths are all awesome. And just listening to your system, you know, having some quiet time to tune in to your body and notice, well, what's sore, what's going on there. If you feel like I want to talk to this person, I want to listen to this music, I feel like eating this food, I would suggest you do that. There's probably something there. I feel like I want to go and walk to the window to fill my kettle up, and then you'll see something amazing like a bird you'll interact with. Often, you know, listen to the little whispers of your soul, and they will help you, you know, integrate the work you've been doing. And fit balls, you know, those Swiss balls that they have in gyms that you sit on and do exercise. They're just such an awesome self-care tool because it provides you with that time to sit and focus. So 10 minutes a day. It also allows all of your spinal and, you know, back muscles to reorganize themselves. It takes the pressure off because you're using your thighs and your abdominals more than your back. So, and you can drape yourself over them and stretch all the fascia in a way that, you know, muscles need a different kind of stretching to fascia, which is very slow and yeah, and you get that time to just zone in, and you'll notice, oh, there's this line of tension I can feel, and you'll notice when it lets go, and then you'll move in another spot and go, I'm feeling that in my hip right now, and wow, that goes up to my shoulder or my neck, whatever. And so spending that time each day, allows these things to release, gives you more flexibility and better, sense of balance in your body, but also you've got that reflective time and you're learning more about your body, which is always a good thing. The more aware you are of things, we can head things off at the past before the pain is so bad we can't ignore it. We're kind of noticing it on the way, and then we just feel better more of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great one. I've been thinking about getting one for my desk, and then I can bounce. Because even shaking up the lymphatic system is good. I mean, you might have to get bouncing a little bit much. But
you don't have to think about a thing that you're doing. It just happens. All the benefits just happen quite organically and naturally. You don't have to try very hard. You can just sit there and have some fun for 10 or 15 minutes on the ball, and job's done.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that.
Okay.
So, of course, I have to ask you, if I could give you a magic wand and you could wave it, what would you like to see come to fruition?
I found this really easy to answer. I would reset all of the systems on the planet, like all of the societal systems, like, finance and medical and, the judicial system, as well as the natural ecosystems. I would just click, and instantly those systems will be in place that worked for all of us, that worked for every single being on the planet, that would just support life on this planet. They would all interact in a way that worked for everyone and everything, because we don't have that now. Imagine if nobody had to live with any poverty, or wondering where the rent money was going to come from, or where good food was going to come from, or a sense of safety or community. All of those systems, I would instantly make them just all work well and in harmony and in balance, because I think if those were already in place, wouldn't it be so much easier going through this time right now, like doing our healing work? It's so difficult to do when you're stretched to the edge of your resources, but if we all had them, and then the earth would be healing, because all of those natural systems would not be getting interfered with anymore. They would just work. So that would be my magic wand, would be doing that.
So beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, it would definitely give us a nice foundation to work off of, right?
Yeah.
So we just have to do it a little bit harder, I think, this lifetime around anyways. Things have become a little bit more instilled, but that's okay. It is shifting, and that's what the beautiful part about this is there is the opportunity to do that work, to transform, and to shift past traumas into something beautiful, That
would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time today. This has just been such a lovely conversation. I've really enjoyed it. And I'm sure so many people have gotten value out of this. If you are watching, please #replay if you catch this afterwards, and let us know where you're joining us from. We always love to hear from you. And if you are watching or listening to this on the podcast, and you feel called to, please leave us a review. We would greatly appreciate it. We always like to bring more of what we can to you and what you're looking for here. And of course, stay tuned for our global event coming up here, 48 Hours of Love and Light. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. And thank you so much. Is there anything you want to leave us with? I know you've given us a lot, but I would, the floor is yours.
No, I think just be really kind and gentle to yourself, and make sure you get enough rest. It is difficult at the moment to be navigating all that we're going through. So just acknowledge that. Take it easy on yourself and on other people where possible. We'll get through this. Just patience, breathe, reorient, recenter yourself, and trust. We'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Compassion goes a long way.
So does.
Absolutely. So of course, everybody, you can check in the comments below. We will post where you can find Ursula and her work, and stay tuned for her juicy sessions that she has coming out that will be able to assist you with the energy that we have going on here. And of course, you can tune in every Thursday, Friday, if you're my way, for her show. Oh, no, the other way around. Check the page. I don't want to confuse everybody. But it has been absolutely wonderful having you here today. I truly appreciate it. And thank you for those of you that joined in. Please share this out, give us a heart. And thank you, Ursula, for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for your patience with my rambling style of communicating.
It was absolutely perfect.
Great. And if anyone is confused by anything and wants to drill down, you can book a little quick talk with me over Zoom, and I can explain more clearly in language that might be easier for you to understand. I know my web's cast pretty wide, so I'm always around to talk to people.
Awesome. Yeah. And so we will post that in the comments below so that you can connect with Ursula. Thank you, guys. We will be back again next week. Have an amazing weekend. Bye for now.
Bye.